Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. First of all, I'm extremely sorry for the technical glitch that happened, and due to that, the webinar got delayed. So we are really sorry to you, and we're also thankful for you keeping patience and waiting for the webinar to start. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Platform-Based Software Solution. Our guest speaker today is Mr. Ashish Kumar, CTO and Consulting Enterprise Cloud Architect at Media Cloud Consulting and Services, Bangalore. An IT evangelist with 23 plus years of IT experience, Mr. Ashish Kumar possesses strong skills in IT management, IT strategy, IT architecture, solution delivery, quality management, and product development in systems, finance, manufacturing, and automobile domain. Ashish has expertise in IT architecture, enterprise modeling-based architecture, enterprise integration, technology, and processes. Mr. Ashish is a member executive panel McKinsey Research, a member of Cloud Standard Customer Council and Cloud Security Alliance, and is also a Level 2 Council member of Gerson Lemon Council Group, US. At present, he is the Chief Architect CTO of Media Cloud Consulting and Services, Bangalore, and also the Consulting Enterprise Cloud Architect for multiple companies. He provides consulting and advisory services on enterprise architecture and enterprise cloud architecture. He has been the consulting principal architect of IDCG KPMG Consortium for Government of India's UID project, Logistic Public Sector. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker, Mr. Ashish. Over to you, Mr. Ashish.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for the delay. Now I'm okay. Okay, so now I think I want to start immediately without further briefing my career. Okay, so I believe I think everybody is in IT now. IT is it's 25 years is old industry now, more than 25 years. Even I'm having 25 years experience. So now I think we are kind of moving from software to the service-based solutions. So in the IT itself is moving from software to service-based. So I'm in a first slide where we are talking about what is that service-based software. Because earlier we started with software where the software was dependent on your technology, like somebody was Microsoft, Oracle, Sun, IBM, and all. So it was not kind of neutral technology, what I should say. So we started with that. Everything was driven by the technology company. Then the next level is a lot of issues were on the integrating between two different technology. And now the third phase, currently we are now in an age of internet where what we are saying that our standard is internet, not the specific technology. So every product company, every technology company has to ensure that his product or the service should work in the internet space. So now we have defined the standard of internet, that everything should be through internet, and all the platform and the solutions should work through internet technology. So that is the one standard, what we call it in infrastructure level. From the software side, again, what we are talking about is the software is as a service now. So service-based software is again where we talk about. So sub-services means I think we need to define the services for a software, we need to define the services for the infrastructure, we need to define the services for the system level. So that already we have defined that, so everybody must be knowing it, that web services standard is what actually is the service standard we have written, or the industry has written that. And so by following that web service standard, we are already kind of using our products like software as a service kind of solutions. We started using it. Now so we have a kind of software as a service kind of model where the software we will not buy, we will only buy the services. Software will be as a services, so it will be more on the pay and use model. So since when we are talking about software as a services, we need to keep that software in the platform level. We can't develop the software independently and then deploy into the platform. So the next level is that that platform has to be there where the software development will happen. So that's why that whole the movement has to move from the software independent IDE, integrated development environment, to a platform-based IDE now. So that every vendor, every big kind of technology company has to provide the universal platform where the solution should work, or the developer or the technical people should be able to use that platform for developing the services. For example, like say the Eclipse is a integrated development environment where almost every technology company has agreed, and they are, whatever they are doing it, they ensuring it that they are giving us the plugins in the Eclipse. So Eclipse is the platform, is a universal platform where we are using that for developing the services. So that is how actually we are moving in a service-based kind of approach of solutions. Now, what is the benefit we are getting in the service, in the platform-based solutions? See, platform means that platform will be a one platform, and we will be accessing that platform or different kind of services from the different vendors. So vendors are not kind of controlling the platform; they are only giving us the services in a plug-in runtime mode. For example, like say, suppose today Gmail is, everybody knows that Gmail you can just create and access it. But Gmail is provided by the Google's as a platform, as a kind of Google App Engine is a platform. So from the platform only they have hosted the Google solutions, and you connect through the platform as a service. So today if somebody is kind of developing or needs a features of say email features in any software, he doesn't need to again develop the email features in the software. He can just kind of develop or kind of access the external interface of your Gmail features of a Google App Engine, and you are able to connect that. So in other words, what we should look for is that whoever is developing services, it has to be on a platform driven, so that anybody, if we are having a kind of Salesforce is a very good example of a CRM platform where all your CRM solutions or functionality, it's available, right? So if anybody wants to access that, he is just kind of he will write an interface with the web services, and he is able to connect that into a new platform. So any developer, any development of software or the solutions, they should not think first, that after getting requirement we should go for a development. He should first look into the marketplace, that whether that same kind of solutions, same kind of functionalities are there or not. So then again, the marketplace is nothing but a platform. That platform is giving you the list of available services in the industry, and if that services is there in the platform, then the new vendors or the company, he should just connect with that kind of marketplace platform, and he can reuse that kind of services. So when we are talking about platform driven kind of solutions, that means that here there is no kind of control or the restriction from the vendor side, that kind of that I cannot, like Microsoft will not work in Java, or Java will not work in Microsoft. Even Microsoft today, if they are talking about their own kind of services, they are also talking about giving you the access to their services. So that adapter or the kind of component Microsoft is giving you. So every vendor today is ensuring you that whatever development happening in their end, other people or third person should be able to access it. So that is what the kind of approach we are talking about today. And in that mode, just a minute. Okay, in that mode, obviously, we need to have a, whoever is kind of talking about platform-based solution design and development, he has to talk about, like, so I'm in a kind of in my slide, it is already, I have just covered, that if we are talking about solution designs, so you need to think more on the design space when you are talking about the design. You should not jump into the coding or the development phase when you are talking about design. So in the design phase itself, we are talking about, like, say, business solution platform, where, that business guy is having money, and he wants to develop something. So he should not talk about the kind of, the coding or the, the technology, what technology, that vendor will use and all. We should always tell them, that, okay, you give us the business requirement, and you talk about the platform-based approach, how the whole solution will be developed using the platform. When we are talking about platform, it is, again, the issue is that, vendor will obviously like to see that, where your, their products are hosted or the deployed in the platform. But the issue here is that in the platform space, we are talking about more on the business architecture. We are talking about the architecture standard. We are talking about the reference architecture. So in that scenario, when we are talking about architecture standard, reference architecture means in the business domain itself. Suppose, we are in a CRM space and somebody is doing a development and a product, doing a product development in CRM. He has to first see what is that whole, domain or the technology available in that space. We will not jump into a new product development in CRM because some customers are asking us to do that. We can help them on that space, because we will be, when we are talking about platform, we will be calling a lot of, external services from different platforms of a CRM. So that is what we are talking about here, is that, we take, any solution you talk about, that solution has to be based on the architecture design and then go for a development space. So when you are talking about architecture and design, you need to, obviously, we are analyzing the industry, we are analyzing the standard, we are analyzing the customer needs, we are asking another 100 questions to customer itself, whether he has validated the business needs or not. In earlier phase, we used to get a business requirement, and we were assuming that business requirement is perfectly all right from the business side. So, but now in the current platform-based solutions, we are validating the business requirement in front of customer itself. So sometimes we are educating, customers also, that your business requirement itself is not correct. So before starting the project, we are validating it and giving them the input that your business requirement itself is not correct. That is what the benefit what we are talking about when it is a platform based, because here the question is not to start the project or to put more people here. The question here is that whether the solution is feasible or not, solution is really going to work or not, solution is really going to be a standard solution or not. We are talking about that. And once that phase is done, then we are talking about. So here in that platform mode kind of approach, we are obviously taking less time. We are taking more time for a architecture and design. We are reducing our effort in a kind of a coding, and whatever we develop, it is a industry standard based. So these are the benefits what we are getting when we are talking about a solution based design. So every kind of projects, if somebody is doing say 4 projects in the same domain space, obviously you will reduce your effort, because you are going to copy 60% will be the same thing. So that advantage we are going to get in a platform, because in the current scenario, we have the technology is available, we have the tools are available, we have the standards are available, and we have the kind of that compliance and kind of an audit and compliance issues are available. So if you have all these standards, earlier nobody was knowing it how to integrate or implement the standards. Right, like for example, in our time when we used to write a code, we used to get a coding standards, right? And the coding standard used to vary from person to person, organization to organization, because it was not a universal standard. And again, the organization is not able to fix that coding standard in one place. But when we are talking about a plugins or kind of platform-based development, your coding standard will be integrated with the platform itself. I will give you one example. So like if you see in the healthcare, there is a HL7 standards of a healthcare. And that standard is talking about how the whole healthcare should work in terms of IT. And now if it is very tough for the IT industry, for every individuals to understand the HL7, then only you work on that. But the best part here is that they have integrated with the healthcare platform, so that whatever code you write, it is that HL7 standard is nothing but a UML model, and you integrate that model with your design model, and your design is 100% compliance with the healthcare standards. So in the platform mode, it is very good to have a kind of you are able to integrate your kind of standard, like say web service standard, right? Everybody knows that we have a security standard, we have interoperability standard, we have a federated identity. All standards are there, and everything is written in the web service standard site. Now it is tough for every individuals to follow the same standard. So it is always good to define a platform, integrate that standards with the platform, and that platform will ensure you that whatever code or whatever the design you do, that will meet the standard of the web services. So that is how the approach of platform-based solution what we are talking about. So if you see that solution design here, solution design, I've just mentioned it in the solution design platform. If it is a, say, service-based, there is a SOMF is a service-oriented modeling framework. There is a EMF is a Eclipse modeling framework. There is a standards of design. There is a domain-based standards, and there is a compliance, right? So all these are all standards, right? So if whoever is doing a kind of service-based kind of projects or a design, everybody has to follow these standards, except the domain where if it is a CRM domain will be different. If it is a healthcare domain will be different. But all other standards is one-time effort, and it is integrated with the platform. So like it is good for the practitioners just to use that instead of always creating it and putting more effort on understanding that kind of standard. So that is what actually the benefit if you see in terms of the solution design, right? So let's go to that. So same thing I have just mentioned in the next slide. It is I've just mentioned it. So, in the business solution platform, we only talk about business goal, business strategy, business driver. We only talk about business reference, the reference architecture, business domain standards, and the business architecture. That is what actually when you are talking to a business guy, this is the standard, and it's a platform-driven standard, so everybody will follow the same standard. So whenever you interact with the customers, you ensure that you get the input only on that space. When you interact with the IT department, or the maybe business guy interact with the IT department, he will know that what is his area of concern or the area where he should ask more questions and all. So it should be more on the architecture development standard, architecture development framework, architecture development platform, architecture building blocks. Now all these standards, whatever I have mentioned is in the platform, it is valid or it is applicable for any kind of development projects. So if we define this is the standard even for the organization, for the industry, and if everybody follows the same, so that is what actually we are trying to define the standard for the industry when we are talking about a platform-based solution designs. Same thing on the IS as a solution design pattern. When we are talking about solution design, we are talking about design framework, we are talking about design standard, we are talking about design methodology, we are talking about domain models, and then again the review and compliances. So all these activities are part of the platform activity. We are not mentioning anything here specific to technology and the specific project, specific kind of language or whatever technology. So all these are generic kind of standards, and all these standard has to be, or it is going, it is part of the platform. So that's why if we because the next level of requirement is that we need to work with the business. We need to ensure the business that whatever we are doing it is going to work. Whether it's a vendor A, vendor B, that should not be the criteria. Criteria is that whoever is doing the solution, that should be workable solutions. So how will you define that? that has to be has to come from the standards, and that is what the first level of standard is. Everybody should develop the solutions using platform. And if this is the kind of, these are the bullet points, like a business solution platform, if I use solution architecture platform, I use solution design platform, review and compliances, if all these common activities, if everybody follows, it is 100% clear that that whatever product you develop or the design you develop, that is going to work. So that is the advantage of following a standards for a platform. Now, if you see the solution development platform, same thing. Like when we are talking about service development platform, we are talking about development stack, we are talking about service framework, we are talking about service interface, and then we have a build and release kind of an activity in the development phase, right? Same thing. Now in the next level is a kind of server platform. Now in the platform based solutions, see the other area is if you see the non-platform based solutions where you need to own it database, you need to own it servers, and you set up your own environment, and then you develop application using your own platform environment. In the platform, it is a common platform, and that platform can be used multiple people, multiple organizations, because that platform will be available as an instance for one user or for one developer team. So same thing, when you connect with the environment, you need an environment, say for a web application, people need an environment of web server, app server, database server, content server, process server, so directory server, right? So everybody is in any project, 3 to 6 months is the time for setting and kind of owning it, the environment, and setting up the environment, production environment, test environment kind of things. Now when we are talking about platform, means it is already there. It is a configured, servers are available. So suppose web server, app server, database server, directory server and all, already, like the technology company, they are basically creating a servers on a virtual space and providing you the servers for use. So your or any vendor's effort is only to just connect to the servers, and the number of kind of hour you use it, you are only paying for that. So nobody is owning the server part. So that is the kind of the best part when we are talking about a platform-based solutions. So your solution means the server is available as a server as a service, right? And the development platform is available as a kind of just you on-demand mode, right? You need it, you just connect it. If you don't need, you don't need to connect. So nobody is owning that platform. Platform is owned by only the vendors who is kind of who has developed or who has assembled or who has kind of is kind of the solution provider or the kind of provider for services or platforms. That is what actually the in the platforms here. The same thing with the system platform. If you see the system platform, I think everybody must be knowing it. That's now the trend is where we talk about SaaS, PaaS, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. So I mentioned in the service platform is a middleware as a service, where all the middleware component, all the servers of middleware, you just you need to connect it and pay for that. There is a company called WSO2, and they are I think the first company. They have come out with the middleware as a service. So you need to just buy the license, and you will just pay for the connection charges. You don't need to configure app server, web server, database server multiple times, because different vendors need that. So they are basically selling the configured version of the servers. So that is the again advantage in a platform base, and earlier it was not there. When we are moving into a platform base, we get the platform as a service. We just connect to the servers and use it and pay that. Same thing with the system in platform, where we are talking about infrastructure. So infrastructure is again the same thing, right? Where you have a virtual server, we have a virtual storage, we have a virtual network, and all are connected with the infrastructure as a service component. So right, so that is what actually the benefit, or the it's not a benefit, it's a new trend of development for a solutions. Here the solutions, what we call it a solution development, we don't call it application development here. because solution means you are providing them the solutions. You are not asking them, vendors that give me servers, give me hardware, give me place, give me everything, then only you will get application. No. What we are giving them is the solutions, and we are owning the software, we are owning the platform, we are owning the servers, and just giving them the connections. So that's why what we call it is it's a solution provider now, and we provide the solutions based on the industry needs. So same thing in the solution development platform. You have a Eclipse framework, you have a Spring framework, you have a .NET framework with WCF. WCF provides you the interoperability between non-Microsoft to Microsoft. Service framework is again part of your development framework, where the OSGI is a standard service framework, and it works on a plugin based services. So we develop the web services plugins and kind of attach it with the Eclipse. So model based services, where you need to do the kind of more on the modeling based kind of services. And then service interface is if either your service you are accessing from third party, that is what we call it external interface. Like if somebody is accessing say Gmail from Google App Engine platform, he will just get a kind of one simple code, and he will just connect with that. But again, the ensure is that you sign the contract with the Gmail to connect that services in your solutions. So that is what is the effort. And since you are accessing services from multiple vendors, so every vendor is again assuring you that his services are or his platform is up for 24/7. So that is again the kind of in the condition every vendor has to provide us. So that kind of assurance. So that is what we are talking about. Same thing in the server platform, where I'm just mentioning you, in it's a web server, application server, database server. It is a one set of server. Now the second is that all server will be provided like middleware as a service, right? Database as a service, server platform, and there are kind of already that stack is there by VMware, what we call it vFabric. Like you must be knowing a Windows Azure. Windows Azure is a platform as a service where all the Microsoft products are integrated, and it is hosted in a data center, and it is available for 24/7. So whoever wants, they can just connect it, and kind of it has to be a pay and use model, kind of a mode of license. So that is how actually we are moving it. Same thing on an infrastructure platform, where we every company needs or a project team needs an infrastructure, like say server, virtual server, storage, all these. See, based point for an infrastructure or platform based solution is that you just interact with the professionals who will help you based on your project needs. Earlier, everything was divided into a project team on the organizations. There was no kind of central place of expertise on kind of technology or the platform. Here, suppose like I'm kind of I do the project consulting project, say for Amazon Cloud. So kind of you get everything, all expertise on a Amazon Cloud directly, right? And you have the everything as a kind of pay and use model. And so it's a central place where the resources are or expertise are kind of available there itself. You don't need to kind of look for the expertise, and again whatever the value add you are doing for the say Amazon Cloud platform, it is stored there, so that in your marketplace you are also able to do your expertise directly, or kind of globally you are able to connect with the global kind of experts. So these are the kind of good approach for a professionals to become a world-class professionals, even sitting in India. So these are the kind of, so when we are talking about platform-based approach, everything is global and every standards are global, and we follow the global standards, whether whether the development is happening here or integration is happening like any other part of the world. But the solution, whatever we provide, is 100% based on the industry standard, because everybody follows the same standards. So that is what actually the advantage what we are getting it on a platform-based solutions. Fine. So I think now I will go for a questions or any queries and all, because from my end I'm done. Hello. Yeah.
Thanks for the insightful presentation, Mr. Ashish. Let's quickly take up the questions now. Please read out the
Yeah.
questions from your chat pane and give their answers so that our users may listen to the commendable insights. Over to you, Mr. Ashish.
Yeah. Fine. I just see that. Okay. Questions are there. Platform as a service. Yes, platform itself is a service. I give you the examples. Say that you have there is a kind of Salesforce.com. Salesforce is a CRM platform. So that platform means having a system component, service component, business process component, and if somebody wants to use, like say for Salesforce, they have a very strong business process component for a CRM domain. So if any other software company wants to develop kind of CRM kind of solutions, he can reuse the business process component of Salesforce, and that they call it a Salesforce.com platform. So obviously platform is also as a service. Okay, what else? Just a minute. Okay. You want to talk about the security in cloud? Okay. Now see the cloud space. You create a cloud. First, your cloud starts from a hardware virtualizations. You create a virtual server, and from the server you move into a kind of hosting your database server and all the servers, and then the solutions, and then infrastructure. Now the cloud security works from the hardware. If somebody says, I'm having an issue with data security, data is going to sit on the virtual server, and the virtual server is again sitting on the, the hypervisor. So when we create a virtual environment, we create a, like say, we follow say EXX or EXXi server. EXXi server creates you the virtual environment of say storage, networking, servers. So if I'm talking about security of a server should be maintained at EXXi server itself. And there is a vShield product of VMware who manages the ESX level security. So if I don't follow the security at say ESX level, my server, the virtual server itself is not secured. Once that server is secured from the ESX, there is a say other kind of platform called vSphere platform. So you manage the servers or the VMs using vSphere platforms. So your security maintenance or the security management has to be from the vSphere platform. So it is, the security is now it's in the layer-based security. So somebody is doing a development work and or kind of creating as a private cloud, and then he is thinking for a security. He has to again come back and see that security at a different layers. So security is not that, during an application area where, you do the security after development and all, then people will say that I need such type of security. That security was more on the user level security, not at the environment level security. But when we are talking about in a cloud and the environment itself is a virtual, whole environment itself is a virtual where you have a storage virtual, server virtual, network virtual, and you have a solution also hosted in virtual. So you are fully depending on a system admin who can kind of break your all rules and policies. But since we are talking about a standard based security here, what we call it web service policies and all. So that security standard is again going with each interface. If suppose I'm connecting a say private cloud with say I'm a gold kind of customer for somebody, or he treats me like a gold customer, so my security policy will be different. So in earlier mode or earlier age, we used to write security only at the registry level of a server or either at the authentication level. Now we are talking about, and that authentication level was not mapped with the each individual's policy. Now since in terms of web services, we have the security at, we are just connecting with each user level. And since web service is not only at the application level, we call it all your cloud and web interface is at storage, server, networking. Everything is web services with interface. So that's why we are able to connect the security policy at each level. So it is always, it's a question, it is always people are doubting the security in the kind of, for cloud solutions. But solutions are there, but it has to be a very, very well disciplined, based solutions. I will tell you my experience of cloud. I use the cloud. When I first, took the cloud, I was looking for a load balancing, and Amazon gave me the load balancing of US data center. But because they were not having a load balancing in Singapore data center, right? So then, but I was not interested to buy the load balancing. I was just looking into the features of load balancing in Singapore data center of AWS. Now, since that features was not there in Singapore, automatically they activated for me load balancing in US. And after the 1 month, I just get a $34 bill because they told that you are using US data center for a load balancing. I'm not using it. So sometimes, if you, so that's why in the cloud space, you are already into a complete, secured or a system area where you have access to everything. In earlier, where system admin is to manage, very few, maybe 5 to 10% people used to enter into the system department. Now, that system department virtual, right? So you can enter it. If you get a user ID password, say in AWS, you are able to touch every component. So that's kind of, but if you are not kind of, experienced on that, so you need to pay for that. So that is what actually the issue is of a security also. If somebody is not kind of, clear or doesn't understand that, he should not try it. If he tries, maybe he will damage 10 to 20% because that access or he's able to touch that. Right, so that is what actually the security is basically in cloud. So if you see that vShield is a vCloud component of a security, and they have captured everything. So it has to be a layer-based security. It is not a kind of one level of only authentication, non-authorization security, but it is there. Like I will tell you one more kind of news. One guy called from US, and he told that somebody was a VM admin guy in New Jersey, and somebody fired him on Friday. So since he was a VM admin, he just deleted 200 VMs, and finally kind of then organization came to know on Monday that that guy kind of left the office with damaging 200 VMs. Right. So then I was just talking to one security company, and he was giving me, the such type of issues are happening in terms of, kind of, virtual and the cloud space. So that's why I told you, like, in the cloud space, it has to be well disciplined in a way of process. One more examples I had is that, one guy gave me $120 free access to cloud, and I gave it to my juniors, and he just connected that, and he went for a tea and coffee, and after 1 hour he's coming. And then he realizes that already $120 is over, right? So thing is that it is a kind of a process, and like, if you use it, or whether it's say electricity or whatever, like, if you use it, you have to pay. Same thing in the cloud. Everything is, nothing is free. Everything is chargeable. So you have to understand, and then based on the understanding, you have to touch it and use it. So I should so always say that my experience is that, before kind of, if touching any cloud and all, things should be 100% clear, because if you do anything wrong, you have to pay for that, because the moment you create a user account, you are also giving the credit card number, so they just charge you. So that is there, okay, whether it is, okay, just a minute, what more questions is? What is the difference between? Okay, platform as a service and infrastructure as a service is two different. When we talk about the platform, obviously infrastructure is also part of the platform, but infrastructure as a service is where, you create, like say, if you see the vSphere is a platform, and that manages the VMs of a VMwares. Okay, and then vCloud is again a cloud platform who manages or creates a private clouds. Now the infrastructure is specifically to only with the storage network and your kind of related to say memory cache and elastic cache and BCPDR kind of all those services. So like whatever that infrastructure component and the management of infrastructure component is primarily the infrastructure as a service. If earlier it was say BCPDR, business continuity plan, then high availability or service level agreement and all are part of the system admin. But now all these kind of BCPDR kind of risk at a security risk at a hardware level or defining a process for a hardware, say change management, version management, all this process should be part of the infrastructure as a service, not at a platform as a service. Platform, when we talk about platform, is primarily on a middleware where we talk about servers. We talk about kind of different kind of servers, right? We can't like because the server itself is a lot of servers are there. Like we have a web server, app server, process server, security servers, business integration server, kind of So all this is what we call it a platform as a service. So so lot of kind of vendors in US, they are developing kind of cloud-based products, and there because in the cloud what happened, you are basically buying a cloud, so lot of data center, they need a kind of products where they can manage the multiple VMs or multiple instances configurations, because different people are buying different kind of machine configurations. So the people are developing a product where they are managing the different configurations. So all those products will be part of your infrastructure as a service, right? So infrastructure will be remain the same, it will server, storage and all. But when you are talking about different volume of storage, volume of servers and managing versions of different servers, versions, so those are management part is what kind of it is going to be part of your infrastructure as a service. Okay, what else? See, again, the base database as a service is again the one area. Okay, and so here that the based kind of solution has to be decided by the architect. So every architect, you ask any technical architect and all, he's supposed to analyze the solution based on the available kind of the technology or the budgets or kind of the priority of the organization, because sometimes that people are tuned with the technology or the company. Like a lot of company, I know that if they have gone for a say Microsoft, they will obviously go for a Microsoft. Still, they don't want, because the CIO level team is that depends on the CIO level team. If he takes a challenge, if he's neutral guy, he can take a call. But if he's not interested to take a risk or to change a vendor, because sometimes the change of vendor requires a lot of justification to top management. So that is already there in the industry, right? People are having all big company, they have fixed kind of customers. If somebody is following IBM, he will be only with IBM unless major changes or major policy changes. So in that scenario, basically, currently on the cloud and the platform as a service and SaaS-based as a service is is all kind of is available only for a small medium business, and the big house like IBM or kind of HP or they are developing their own platform as a service model. And so their all enterprise customers will use their platform as a service. So instead of now IBM and Microsoft, they need to develop their own platform for selling their software and the solutions, because they can't sell the solution in terms of CD and downloading the software from the website. Now the solution will be sold through the platform. So already you see the Azure platform, right, where you use the SharePoint, use the Microsoft Office and all through Azure platform only. So you don't need to kind of own it, any hardware and all. They provide you that access, and you just buy it. So that is what actually the next kind of trend is. If you just think on the same thing, you see in the cloud. If it is a private cloud, how will you install your software on a private cloud? So that in the private cloud itself, there is a kind of image, commands are there. You keep that image of a software, and you just select that software. Your software will be installed in your VMs. So even in the distribution of software license is again will be also in terms of a virtual only. So they will only give you the VM in your private cloud or public cloud. From there you can kind of download or kind of bring that into your private cloud. So if you see that in detail of your API level of a cloud API, like vCloud and vSphere, then vCenter, vShield, everything is written in terms of API. So when organization has to just connect or write or call those APIs and get that features kind of in their solutions. So that is what the next level of your development effort is more on. Either develop API or use the API for your purpose. Okay, just what is this? Paradigm of cloud computing is as so now the cloud is again. So there is here the issue is I was generally I'm part of GLG Global, so I get all kind of inquiry. So cloud and virtualization is two space. Not necessarily that the next generation of virtualization, like already VMware started with the virtualization. So 10 years they did only the virtualization work, and in India 10 years. I think everybody is using virtualization technology effectively. So kind of all you find it, all servers are virtual servers and all. So nobody, so the next level is, that people wants, nobody wants to own that servers. Kind of, if I'm having a server, I don't want to pay for it 10 hours or 24 or 7 hours, because sometimes I've seen, that some applications are only running in the midnight for 2 hours, but still you are owning that servers, because that is what actually the vendor is saying you, that you have to buy it and you have to own it, then only you can. So now the next model is, that's why that cloud model is nothing but it's an elastic model, where you are able to make the infrastructure elastic, so that whenever you want, you just stretch it. Whenever you don't want, you don't need. So that is what the to convert the virtual platform or virtual environment into elastic model is what the cloud is. So it is not necessary, it is always there, like in a data center and all. They are not using cloud, but and cloud is optional also, because somebody like some of the business demand is like somebody wants to say broadcast something, say on say January 1st, and after that he doesn't need that infrastructure. So obviously for one day maybe he needs a 10 lakh user, and after one day he doesn't need that. So he will obviously look for kind of paying for one day for whatever you want, but the next day he can reduce it. So in that kind of business scenario where the elastic model is required for infrastructure, for servers and solutions, you need to have a elastic models, and that elastic model is what we call it in cloud. So there is a integration as a service also layer. There you must be knowing the Boomi, and you must be knowing the cast iron. These are cast iron is bought by IBM. Boomi is I think by Dell. So all these are actually, earlier it was more on the ESB, enterprise service bus based integrations. Now in kind of in the platform space, you are just kind of using integration as a service platform, and kind of just anything kind of you're using it say on rent, right? You need to go somewhere, you just want a kind of car for say 1 hour. Same thing here on integrations. So we are basically moving in terms of everything has to be on a utility model. Whatever you want, you buy it for the particular hour or second or minute, and then pay it, and again they forget it. So that all the development company or the solution provider will own the actual platform, and you all kind of a business guy will only use it, use and pay that. already you see that, right? I think most of a lot of people are kind of a part of your Odesk. Odesk is a global platform for projects where all specialists register it and you do the work and you get paid for that, right? You are not interested or they are not interested that way you work in which company and all. They are only interested for your skills. So same thing here also, same like. So basically a whole kind of, the IT industry is now moving into more on kind of, consolidation and collaboration mode. And that is the next generation is not that, the Java programmer. We need to talk about more on, that what kind of solutions, expertise or the experience you are carrying it so that, one person can do end to end. That is what the industry wants. Industry doesn't want that, one person will come and he will go after 3 months of coding, and then somebody will come and he will do the build. Nobody wants that. He wants one guy should do the end to end. And that if you follow the platform as a service, I think that is what the experience everybody will gain when in the platform-based solutions. That's why the security and all these virtualization and security is still, it has to be, there is no kind of solutions or all big companies because nobody has given the project for such type of things. So still people are buying it, virtual server, virtual technology, and they are just trying to implement that. So after implementation only the security level will come. So the current phase of security in a virtual and cloud space is more on defining the standards and conferences, writing standards, kind of creating a reference architecture, and the forum discussion. Everything is happening on the security space. It's still that the implementation phase where the third-party vendor is calling a consultant on a security and tell them this is what the security of cloud and all. That phase is not reached now. So still that phase has to come. Even if you see the architecture forum and all, still people are on in an old mode of audit and kind of whatever that ISO or BS 2700 standards and all. They are just talking about more on the audit perspective, not in kind of defining the standards for a security on a cloud and a virtual space. I think here the kind of the final, I think the SaaS PaaS and as is simply here, platform for a development project. You obviously everybody knows that SOA based approach is what actually the service based approach for a development, and that again the kind of system environment is again the service based where you have middleware as a service, whether it's a IBM or it's a Oracle and all, but here the issue is the design, right? You are not buying Oracle server, you are not buying DB2, but you are connecting it with the DB2 as instances. So so your design approach has to be a multi-tenant, right? Because you are just getting an instance and you are connecting it, and the same instance even other people are also using it. So obviously your multi-tenant approach has to be there, and that approach is we started with that. Now I think I see we are moving from SQL generation, SQL age to now non-SQL age, right? No SQL. So where we talk about MongoDB, then your CouchDB and kind of big data database and all, and keeping the data on the real time memory. So that is what the next level is, where we are able to increase the kind of performance very high. And but again, it is I think more on the design approach, because you must be knowing Hadoop. So Hadoop framework is I think extensively is very important and people are using it. And that is the next generation of even the database or the server level. Because the server is earlier it was more on the structured data we used to keep on on-premises data. Now we are talking about on-premises means structured and unstructured data, and we combine both data, and that's why that the next level of next generation, next high demanding area is a big data. So people should obviously look for a platform for working on a big data. There is a cloud era, there is a AWS, high performance computing platform. So these are all kind of platform where I think the next level of high demand or the market is going to ask you more questions on that, because everybody wants solutions in a second now. So nobody will give you time on that. So what we are targeting is the real time solutions. If we create a web page, that will be also dynamic. If we update anything on the database, we will not follow a process that collect data, then do that and that. It has to be real time. And that is what the next level, when we are talking about CouchDB and MongoDB and HBase and Hive and Pig and Hadoop, all these are the kind of framework and standards for a cloud-based database and the solution kind of what we are talking about. ESX server is again it's a server by VMware. We create a virtual environment by using ESX servers. So that's why management of VM, it varies. Like if you have a Citrix, you have a VMware, you have a Microsoft, you have a Sun. Everybody is having a separate VM product, virtualization products. Since they create their own virtualization standard, they are obviously supposed to create the management of the VM. So that is what the different kind of VM labs are there. But still, that interoperability or kind of, you buy any VMs or movement from one VM to other VM is what actually is the issue. But already VMware is having open file format where you convert your VM into that file format, and that will work in other VM, right? So that is what actually the VM and the VM management part. No, I think somebody is a PCI DSS on a cloud transparency. So no, that's why I see how IT industry works is that you talk about a new technology, define a standard, discuss with the industry experts, and then go to the industry and sell that. Simple things, right? So if the discussion and the loopholes are there in the standards, we will fix that before implementing to the industry, because whoever is implementing it, he's signing a contract with some kind of SLAs and penalties also, right? So obviously that implementation will only happen once that standards and the architecture and the specifications has been 100% accepted by the industry. That is what actually the approach is. So currently, whatever we are talking about, PCI DSS, or your lot of other new standards, there is a company called, I think, Coalfire. They do all these implementations. So the thing is that I just believe on one thing is that if somebody is expert, he should be owning that knowledge, and then he should sell that to to the vendor, because the business house, they are not supposed to be expert on IT. They only just see that and somebody has implemented, so somebody other house also should implement it. So the person who is going there or representing company and going there to sell the technology, he should own that. Not that the customer who is giving you money, customer who is giving you money obviously will drive that, but you should convince those guys, that because he also expects, advice from the technology people. And so that is what actually people should see, that, if you are going or interacting with the business people, he needs your advice, not that whatever he says you accept it. And that is what the actually model is. If you advise them, you go as an advisor, maybe things will work fine and you will not do mistakes. But if you think the customer is always right and whatever he says is correct, that means that is what the gap is, and then we create problem here. See, the security and personal information all are there. See, what we are talking about in this the new kind of era of IT is that we started with a kind of in a house. Now you are in a kind of in a big house, and then now you are in a city. Same thing in the organization level. If you see the organizations, they were only keeping some desktop and using Excel sheet, and kind of you were not getting recognition because you generally IT people used to be part of your finance department, or somebody was CFO was managing it, kind of things, right? So your IT recognition was minimum. The next level is that now you have a CIO who is the IT guy and managing the IT, and he is neck to neck with the CEO, right, or reporting to CEO. So if you have such type of recognitions, so even IT is also growing like others, right? And it's a business unit now, business house, right, for IT. So now our responsibility is also to work with the business or to increase the business profit, right, by implementing IT. So the ownership is basically we need to take the ownership of that. Not that only Excel sheet and print out and salary sheet is what actually we started when you only get the recognition for salary slip and kind of print out and Excel sheet database and entry and all, right? That is what the income is. So now next is since we are now matured enough, so we are basically talking or sitting with the business discussion, sitting with the business house, and sharing that IT technology thought also there to improve the business. That is what the current generation is, right? So all when we talk about the new era or new technology, new process, everybody has to validate it. And finally, the leader is IT. If somebody is taking a call on, say, defining a private cloud in a big company where the data center is there. I was talking to Singapore guy yesterday, and the next generation of the technology is that you will be getting a data center. You can create a data center from a client. Now nobody can believe that because current scenario is that you buy a server and you just upload your data into the server and you pay for that. But you don't have the access to network, you don't have access to storage, and it is not integrated with the server. So, but when we are talking about virtualization and the cloud is basically you create a cloud by integrating all three, storage, server, and network. So all three components are virtual component. You connect all three virtual components, then you define a fourth component, what we call it a private cloud or a virtual data center. So in that virtual data center, if somebody access that virtual data center, he will get access to storage, server, and your network. So even he can manage or he can see the utilization of network, storage, and server by accessing that virtual data center. Today we are not giving them access to client whether you are using server or server is attached with storage, or how much is the usage of storage or the capacity you are using it, or whatever the buying. Because what we are trying to do here is that we are making transparency on IT, and obviously with risk and compliance. So unless the risk is mitigated, obviously people should not accept it. But from the IT technology side, when we are working on a technology company or we talk about the technology, we don't talk about we don't understand the business risk. Sometimes, if you go to hospital, people are, you ask, IT solution for hospital, they will tell you that, are you interested to develop software for hospital management or for a patient? For hospital management, nobody will give you the accurate data because a lot of, other issues are there where they make money. So they are not interested to automate that part. Same thing on a cloud area, like as a cloud technology company, we are always neutral. We are not thinking more on the business loss and all from the compliance or the standard, or they are not following any standards. So when you are implementing it, you need to take care of that, and based on that only the implementation will happen. Right, so that is what actually here. Anything? No, I think now it is okay, right? Any more question? I'm just looking into that, right? Cloud transparency. Let me just go through some more questions if it is there. I think I've done almost, right? I don't have much. Okay. I think I'm done.
It was. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of the webinar will be available on techgeek.com by tomorrow. Thank you all for making this webinar a success.